Hello, I am the Jagged Wizard, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy is a game set in the late 1800s in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. It is the story of a student at Hogwarts who has been admitted late and discovers that they have some connection to a powerful form of magic, and they learn to control and harness this ability over the course of the game. The game has some really cool things about it that I'm going to talk about, and maybe a couple of things I wasn't as big of a fan of, and we'll be getting to that too. So first, I want to talk about the gameplay itself. One of the biggest sections of gameplay is combat, and the combat system I really enjoy. The combat system is very simple at its base, but as you play the game more and unlock more abilities, it becomes deeper and allows you to unlock a lot of really cool combos and other things that will become staples of your combat in this game. The wand magic and the use of the spells from the Harry Potter lore is really cool, and they did a great job of translating those into a video game. I really enjoyed the combat. It's probably my favorite part of the game, and I really enjoyed a lot of other aspects. Another important aspect, this game is set in the wizarding world, and so there is a lot of tie-ins that we associate with that. We associate all of the Harry Potter movies with that, and if you've read the books, how you feel about those. And they did a phenomenal job of translating that feel into a video game. I feel like I walked around Hogwarts in this game. I feel like I was using the spells that I'd seen used in the movies and read about in the books. It was a very cool and very faithful adaptation to the world that exists. I applaud the developers for it. It's amazing what they've done. And not only is this world accurate and faithful to the original source material, but it is very pretty. I frankly can't play on a high enough resolution to really get the full experience, but I was amazed at how much detail there was in the little things. It felt right and it felt authentic. It isn't this hyper realism, but it is this light fantasy world. I thought the look of the game was very true to what it needed to be, and I really enjoyed that about it. I think the way they designed the spells, both visually and audially, I think reflected the world that we grew to know and to love in the books and in the movies.
Arresto Momentum Fringo, Incendio, Levioso, Glacius, Defendo.
As for other elements of gameplay besides combat, there are several other systems, but I frankly didn't use them very much. I don't know if that's because I didn't enjoy them as much. That is probably a lot of it. I very much like the quick-paced combat, and I wasn't a huge fan of the caring for magical creatures and for the brewing potions, except for to brew up 25 potions so that I don't die. And part of that I think is the difficulty. I never felt a need to spend time invested in those resources outside of the occasional health potion that I needed. And maybe for fun I would brew another potion or collect another plant or for achievements or something, but I never really invested the time in those systems to be truly dedicated and to really experience them fully. However, I did enjoy those systems. Frankly, the gameplay is very solid. I don't think it's out of this world great, but I think it is very solid and very worthwhile, especially if you have an interest in the franchise. If you like Harry Potter and want to see more Harry Potter stuff, I think this would be a great way to spend some of your time, because it is a beautiful recreation of the world that we've grown to know and love. As for replayability, I'm not the type of person to replay games. I don't really enjoy it unless it's something like Super Smash Bros. Or Battlefront, where it is a game where it's intended to be played over and over again. But as for replaying story-based games, I'm not into it. I really don't enjoy it, and so I don't do it. And there isn't a New Game Plus mode to add any technical challenge to it. If that changes, I will comment below. Going through different houses doesn't really change very much of the story. As for the ending, it will primarily be the same, regardless of what you do. I think there's one or two like side quests that have more depth, but I haven't finished playing through them, so I can't confirm or deny that. As for the story, I'm gonna go a little bit into spoilers, so you have been warned. Let me give it a couple of seconds for people to click away. Okay, so the story is essentially you have developed an uncanny ability to reach into this reservoir of magic that other people are unable to access. And you meet a group of paintings who are the keepers. They watch over this type of magic to make sure that it's not abused. And you follow their story, and then you follow a story of someone who defected from them, who wanted to use the magic for something else. And what the story itself is a very basic story. It doesn't take a lot of risks. There aren't a lot of diverging paths, and so for the most part, you don't get a say in how the story ends. It's going to end the same way pretty much whatever you do, with maybe a nuance or two. But aside from that, there isn't a lot of choice. But that being said, I don't play a lot of games where there is a lot of choice. I think the games I've played with the most choice at this point is probably this one. And so, like, it's not the style of game I play, so I didn't have an issue with that. My one complaint with the combat, and I'm putting this in the story section because it's a little bit of a spoiler, is that most of the boss fights are the exact same, or are the exact same formula. You have a boss, and you have to pop little bubbles using certain spells, and then you can damage the boss. And that, for me, after two of those, after doing the first one, the first one was really enjoyable because it was new. But after that, and having the big boss, the final boss, be a significantly extended version of that, for me was annoying, and it felt repetitive, and I would have liked to see more variety in the bosses. I will say the third major boss that you fight was different, and I really liked what they did with that. As for my time, I really enjoyed this game. I played it for about 30 hours, and for me, I don't like games that last longer than about 20 hours. I've begun to realize as I've gotten more into gaming, and so it felt a little long for me. That being said, I was still invested in the story, and I wanted to know how it finished, even if I was ready for it to be done. As for bugs and stuff, I only ever had one glitch where I had to exit the game and join it again for it to recover and to go through. But that only happened once in my 30 hours. I mean, you have, minor things that I don't think ever really affect gameplay, except for one thing that really bothered me, and it is my biggest complaint by far of this game, is this little bar right here. You would watch it every time you loaded into the game. And I couldn't even, the game hadn't officially started when the game hadn't officially started, or wasn't officially running really, when this was on, and it was just stalling while it loaded the main menus, which kind of bothered me and felt like if you have done it once on a computer, the program should be able to save that and run with it. And maybe, I don't know, my shaders changed every time I opened the game, but I would be shocked because I haven't changed my computer, any of the hardware or physicality of it. And so for me, that was something that was a little off-putting and kind of annoying every time I had to start the game. As for my final thoughts, I really enjoyed this game. I really did. I have a couple of nitpicks, but other than that, I think it's a good game. I really enjoyed the world. I really, really enjoyed the combat. I think it's so much fun to figure out all of the different ways spells can interact so that you can have the most powerful effect on your enemies. And overall, I think I would recommend it. Especially if you like Harry Potter and the wizarding world, I think it's almost a no-brainer. It's a great game, and it's so true to the lore that it's well worth spending your money on. If you're enjoying this content, please like it below and subscribe. I post a video weekly, but either about a video game or about a tabletop role-playing game or something, in the mix there. If you have any comments about your experience with Hogwarts Legacy or videos you'd like to see or video games you'd like to see me review in the future, please comment below and I will do my best to respond to that. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.